And, and just before the game here, there's going to be a minute's silence for the late Brian Mullins, who, as you've heard, sadly passed away earlier today. So everybody here is standing to honour GAA legend.
What an atmosphere in Parnell Park for this game, the go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship final. Those girls in yellow and blue from Nafina, believe it or not, they have never won this particular championship, so a huge night for them, and they are up against St Vincent's. There's the referee David Murphy, and my co-commentator is Dennis Murphy. And the first thing, Dennis, apart from the atmosphere, there's a breeze out there.
There is. There's a fair breeze, and it's a typical breeze in Parnell Park, blowing from the church end, maybe slightly going into the corner at the Kieran's end, and it'll be interesting to see what impact it has on the game.
Absolutely. Who won the toss? That's the important thing.
I missed that with everything else that was going on.
Well, we'll see in a second. It looks that certainly St Vincent's are on the right hand side at the minute. So we'll see what way, or St Vincent's are on the left, Nafina on the right. We'll see if they stay that way. They're just running out to their positions now, and we'll also see if there's any changes in personnel.
Yeah.
But for the moment, it's Nafina with Ciara Tierney in goals, Grania Free at cornerback number 2. She's a joint captain. Niamh Gleeson 3, Sophie Reid 4, Maeve Nicalacon is 5, Eve O'Brien 6, Sinead Rogers 7, Roisin Baker and Elise Jameson Murphy at midfield, Emma Deely, Arlene Cushion, another of the joint captains, and Alex Griffin, and then full forward line Niamh Rock, Eva Harrington and Emma Gray. And I'm just looking to break away from the teams to see if there are any changes, but nice to see 8 and 9s around the middle of the field. A little bit hard to see on the band. Sorry, Dennis.
Centre back has gone for Nafina. The Nafina centre back number 6 has gone in midfield, Eve O'Brien.
You come in on that in a minute. I'll follow the play for now. We'll come there in a minute, because David Murphy from St James's Gales is about to throw the ball in for the 2022 go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship final. Perfect night here. Yes, it's breezy, but there's no rain. Fantastic pitch, fantastic atmosphere. The stand on the far side is all but full. People still coming in. Really looking forward to this game, and it really is fantastic to have a game like this under lights on a Friday night. What a brilliant idea it is. The last time we were here, we saw Dublin and Meath ladies going at it. It's a great venue here, and we have a great point to watch the game as well. Dennis.
Yeah, and there is that switch on the Nafina team. Roisin Baker gone back centre back and Eve O'Brien midfield. Eve is one of the players who can play anywhere around the field.
Right, the first at goal, and it's dropped in and around the 21 to the 14. Referee crouched, having a look to see where the ball is and who's going to come out with it. And it's St Vincent's coming out with it. They will clear that first attack from Nafina, and they get it all the way out. But Maeve Nicalacoin, only 20 years old, number 7 there, but she doesn't get on the ball. She'd want to get on the ball early. In fact, that wasn't Nicalacoin who'd get in there. It was Sinead Rogers first. 2 very young girls in there, 19 years old and 20 years old. And Sophie Reid at number 4, only 18. Lots of youth in the back line for Nafina, and they did extremely well. And now this is Roisin Baker, and she is looking to get it inside the 45. She gets it in there and gets it to Emma Deely, but she isn't able to hold on to it, and neither team really getting steady play yet or able to get any sort of rhythm to their play, and it's all pretty much going up the middle, and it's just one team getting it and then the other. Roisin Baker, who took that free, now back in a sort of a sweeper role on the stand side, and Dennis, it does look like she's going to drop in and play that kind of role, but no real rhythm to the game yet.
Yeah, no, and she's holding that position all right. And worryingly a bit from Vincent, that's 3 frees, and we haven't 2 minutes gone in the match yet, and they've conceded 3 frees.
But where do they go with the frees? That is the question. She goes straight down the middle, and she is looking for Niamh Rock. But it spills, and they all seem to be spilling. Every ball seems to be coming back out again, and that was Muireann Kelleher, but then she spills as well. Is it nerves, Dennis? But there's really nobody able to really get 2 passes together.
I think there's an element of nerves, and they've also crowded the middle a bit, I noticed, and it doesn't surprise anybody, I suspect. And Vincent's captain, Muireann, who's numbered 15, is certainly not playing in the corner forward position. She's out around the middle of the field here. So I suspect both teams are trying to gain possession around that middle of the field.
Well, it's certainly not a surprise that Kelleher is out around the middle of the field, Dennis. I mean, Muireann would have played there last year, and she's well known for being out the field, so I don't think anyone thought she was going to stay in the corner. No?
Correct, you're right.
And there's the sweeper in the right place, and this time it's Grania Free who's sitting in there, and that was like what they say, feeding buns to the bear. She just said thanks very much. So if St Vincent's are just going to launch it in, they're going to take it very easily in there.
They have to be a bit more clever in their delivery, you're right.
Yeah, it's all going up the middle. I mean, you need to use the wings and get your ball players on it, but this is a chance now for St Vincent's to get the first score of the game, and it's a free to them. So a bit frantic and hectic.
It is, yeah. And again, Aisling Maher coming out to take this free, and at inter-county and college level she's been prolific in her free taking. Hopefully it's not the commentator's curse here. Interesting to see if the wind has an effect on this, Jerome.
Yes, well, she should have it behind her. I'm looking to see what way the flags are fluttering, but certainly was quite strong when I was down at pit side with the advantage. Does she get it over? It looks good to me. The white flag goes up, first score of the game, and it goes to St Vincent's. 1 point to no score, and we are 3.5 minutes in. I spotted another change a minute ago as well. St Vincent's have actually started with number 18, and that is Roisin Drohan. So she is in the play from the start. We'll try and figure out who didn't start her. I'll let Dennis do that while I follow the play, because there's an attack here, and it's actually the 24, and that is Ciara O'Looney for Nafina. Gets it out to Eve O'Brien, who has indeed taken an advanced position, as Dennis said, but really Nafina are not able to make any headway when they get into the forwards. It gets there, but it doesn't stick, and they're not able to get any decent efforts on goal. They're quite good at this part of the play, or part of the build-up, and they've got another free. They keep getting lots of frees, but they're not flowing yet. So that's changed there. I noticed number 24 from the Fianna, that's Ciara O'Looney. She's in the full forward line, and the other one I noticed is Roisin Drohan, number 18, is in for St Vincent's. Isn't that right? As
the numbers are playing all over the field, I see Arlene Cushion back into half back line wearing number 11 for Nafina. So give me a couple of minutes and I'll try and work it out for you, Jerome.
Well, those are the personnel changes, and the tactical changes and positional changes is another thing.
Yeah.
So let's follow the play. There's another long ball from St Vincent's. They've done that several times, but every time it has gone straight to the spare Nafina player. Now, this one is Grania Free, their joint captain, and she read it very well, but again, not able to pick the ball up and get a bit of forward play together with it. So it's a chance of a score, and indeed it's gone over the bar, and that's the second point. And really, Nafina should have cleared that, and they were punished, and it's gone over the bar in the end. Really good run by Aisling Maher. Classy player, county player, of course. 2017 All-Star, and that's a lovely finish from her. 2-0 for St Vincent's, and the Fianna really at the minute are just playing into St Vincent's hands and making too many mistakes, Dennis, to be honest.
They are. They had possession out here in front of us for that one and lost it for Aisling Maher to get the score.
As I say, maybe it is the nerves, but look at the defending here from St Vincent's as well. Very tough defending, and again, though, the ball was just straight up the middle.
Yeah.
You know, they need to use the wings, you feel, but maybe that's just nerves. You get a game plan, I guess, before the game, and everybody tells you what to do, but, you know, trying to keep calm in the middle of this big occasion is difficult for the girls. But there's another ball just played in pretty aimlessly, and the St Vincent's defenders are being really solid. And again, they just fire it down, and it is breaking for them. This is played in quite nicely by Eva Lamb across field, and that's what we were saying really that Nafina are not doing. Cross field ball, making it difficult for the defenders instead of playing it right in front of them. And there could be another point, maybe even a goal here. No, she's going to go for a point, and she gets it. And that's a super score, and that's 3-0, and it is the number 10 Niamh Heatherton. A goal in the semi and a point tonight.
Yeah, and as a dual player, she has that strength from playing both games.
Lovely shot of her there in the replay as well from our low camera. And last year, I mean, you're talking about personnel and positional changes. Last year she was centre half back. Now she's playing in the forwards under new management, of course. Now that ball played into the forwards again and again. Steady rock-like defending from St Vincent's. They're battling for it. Who's going to come up with it in the end? The referee is letting them go for it, and indeed it is broken nicely, and it is Nafina, and that's good work by O'Looney getting it out to Emma Gray, and they could have done with their score there just to settle them. Maybe the nerves, but it's gone wide, Dennis. Yeah,
it is, and interestingly that's the first wide of the game, Jerome. I think the other point is with the Nafina puck out there. For the last two puckouts they've been good and long, so I'm not sure the wind is going to have a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, they are 3 points up playing with the wind, so it's definitely a factor. And they are moving the ball quickly. They're trying to get it in there as quickly as they can. Use that wind to just drive it in there. And there's good pressure from the forwards, defending from the front. And St Vincent's, even though there's a lot of yellow jerseys in there, they're trying to get that ball back. And you feel for Nafina at the minute, 3-0 down. They are against the wind, and they've never won this, but they need to settle. And they are up against it, but that's better. That's good tackling. That's Sinead Rogers nipping in there, but they need more of that. But you see, when they get the ball, they just don't seem to be able to deliver it.
That's Roisin held on to that. I think it's Roisin Baker, held on to that well, which they need to do when they're in possession, as you say, Jerome. I think I've worked out 13 for Vincent's. Anya Fanning didn't start, one of their long-serving players. Good player to have to bring on and have an impact at the end.
And this is Roisin Baker, the doctor. Puts it down the line, straight down the line. Tough collision there, and it's the number 12, I think, for Nafina, Alex Griffin, who has gone down. Just the two players, I think, colliding with each other, just an accidental one. Yeah.
And I think, Jerome, it's the full forward. It might be a direct swap on the Nafina side, Eva Harrington. I don't see her out there, and that's who Ciara O'Looney's on for, looking at it here.
Good spot.
But I reserve the right, if I see 14, to change that. But no, I think that's the move, all right.
I didn't get given you the St Vincent's team. I might be able to now. Dara Cook in goals. She's joined from Crumlin. Ciara O'Leary at 2. Deirdre Johnston, Laura Smith at number 4, Ellen McGovern, Grania Quinn, Eva Marie Elliott at midfield, Anya Woods 8, Danielle Smith 9, then Niamh Heatherton at 10, Eva Lamb 11, Claire Donnelly the captain at 12, and then 13 was to be Anya Fanning, 14 Aisling Maher, and 15 Murren Callagher. Actually, she's the captain. What am I saying? I saw the C beside her. She's the captain, Murren Callagher, and that is the St Vincent's team. Now, the defence of Nafina trying to hold up, but they haven't really cleared their lines that well, because St Vincent's are trying to turn it over from there. And indeed they have turned it over and got it back in, because that was Callagher, and she's driven it into the danger area. And now this is Heatherton. She got a goal in the semi-final, nearly got it again, and it was deflected. I don't know that the defender knew too much about it. That could well have been goal bound.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jerome. I was here a couple of weeks ago when Niamh Heatherton's brother John, Vincent's played him in at the edge of the square in the last group match, and he got 3 goals from in there. So they're trying the same, and Niamh has the physical ability to win a good ball in there and create danger like she did just there, and will need watching by that Nafina defence.
Yeah, she's playing in and around the danger area there. Yeah. She got the goal before, and as I say, last year we saw her in the county final and she played centre half back, but there have been a few positional switches there. I mean, Ellen McGovern has gone from left corner forward to right half back as well, and we'll put that down to the new managers, Mickey Whelan the manager last year, Tom Russell and Aoife Drumgoole in there. So it's interesting how a few subtle changes in personnel or positional switches can make a huge difference.
They can, but you need the team to understand the players then, and as you mentioned earlier on, balls into Niamh, they need to be going properly in, not into the sweeper.
But Niamh also knows how to attack from ladies football as well. She has that. So she went for goal there, didn't get it, but they have 3 points, and now they're aiming for a 4th, and there is the 4th. Great start to the game for St Vincent's and for Aisling Maher. You see her there in her low shot there, and the AAG sign behind her. And it's 11 minutes gone, and it's 4 points to no score, and Nafina really need to settle. Where are they going from this puck out? This is Ciara Tierney, puts it straight down the middle, and it bounces, but it bounces straight to another blue and white jersey, and it was the number 2, Ciara O'Leary, player of the match in 2019 in the final, and her interception has got it up in the end to Maher, and she's delivered once again, and it's 5 alive for St Vincent's. They lead after 12 minutes. Now, where would she go with this one? She might change direction a little bit. She does. She comes out to the left instead. But look, I can see off camera that is straight down the throat to Gráinne Quinn. Yeah. And there was 2 or 3 more players there for St Vincent's and Nafina. So they're having problems just getting up the field. And it's not just the wind. Their delivery into the forwards is just not sticking. And Maher now is starting to exert her influence, and that's a brilliant cross-field ball, and she's got it to Kelleher. She gets her shot in, but she was well crowded out in the end. But Maher is on fire.
She is. She's and making use of the space in there, but I think the contrast there when Gráinne Quinn came across, first touch, ball in the hand, and delivered it into the forwards, where Nafina are struggling to get that touch and get the clearance in, and then being put under pressure by the Vincent's forwards, who are working very hard.
So this puck out once again very high, but at least it's a 50-50 on this occasion. But it bounces kindly, and it bounces kindly for Emma Gray, and off she goes, and she puts it in there. There's a one-on-one in here, but again, you have to admire these St Vincent's forwards, or defenders. They are so strong in the tackle. They are so firm. They will not be moved, and they end up clearing their lines again. And they've had only one effort in Nafina, and it went wide. And really, really good play at the back from St Vincent's. Nothing is... There's no one passing in there, and there's no change at all there. Now this is Gray playing well out the field, and she's having to come all the way out the field, and they're winning their frees out here. They're getting frees, but they're not really much used to them.
Yeah, they're not winning the 50-50 ball. There's been 2 or 3 50-50 balls going in there to the forwards now, and they haven't won them.
To be fair, it's hard when you're in the forwards and it's just coming at you, and it's like you have to win it with the ball coming at you, and if the player is strong beside you. So there's more of a sort of a crossfield diagonal ball, and can they win it this time? They do, and Arlene Cushion doing her best to get in there, Cushion, but it is again St Vincent's coming out. Referee says it's over carrying, and he rules against Ciara O'Leary, and that is a gift for Nafina that they will really, really appreciate.
Yeah, I think it's very important for them now they get this point. We're 12-13 minutes into the game, and
well, Niamh Rock had 11 out of 12 in the semi-finals, but there's a bit of pressure on this.
There is. County final.
Haven't scored, into the win, but should get it, and does. Nafina are on the board. 5 points to 1, and the crowd cheer goes up from the far side. They're delighted with that. The puck out will come though from Dara Cook now. Where is she going with it? She hasn't had many, maybe just the one.
Yeah.
And she decides to come down this side, nearest our side here, and it bounces kindly for St Vincent's, and that's good play again. It's quite hard to see some of those numbers when it's blue, and then the blue band across it. It could have been 8, could have been 6, but either way it's a free now, and Gray has done well again, and Gray is coming into the game now, playing 15 but playing out the field a lot. Her twin, of course, Orla, named in the subs, but did her cruciate with Dublin this year. And the connection there, of course, with the founder, the first chair of the club, Greta Gray, and 2 aunties as well who are watching in Italy. I'll come back to that in a minute. We have viewers all over the world watching in Parnell Park. And there is Gray again.
Opportunity maybe here. They had a
she
spare
does
player.
Well. And she picks it up again, looking for a bit of room. They haven't scored from play just yet, but now gets her free, and that will be another chance for them to score.
Yeah.
So a free in for Gray. I did mention she's some relatives, Carmel and Anne-Marie, watching in Lake Garda tonight, and they'll be pleased to see that one go over. In fact, that was the 13 Neve Rock who put it over, and that's 2 points for Nafina. Much better from them. And talking about overseas viewers, there's also Claire Reaney from Erin's Isle. She's watching in San Francisco. If there's any more watching around the world, feel free to leave a message there on the feed on YouTube. Now that was a tough challenge there, and the referee comes straight over. You heard the ooh in the crowd, and the referee you see there in the low camera going in to have a word. We'll maybe get another look at it as well. The ball drops, and ooh, what do you make of that, Dennis?
Yeah, it was the hand. She left it behind and just caught her. Didn't come in at her. Yeah, I think he just had a word with her.
Yeah, I don't think it was too much.
Yeah.
I don't think there was too much intent there. She just, as you say, left the hand in. Good refereeing by David Murphy. Now, a chance for Nafina again. Oh, and Gray took that beautifully, and if that goes over, it'll be the score of the game so far. It doesn't quite, but really nice, skillful play. She's a nice player. And that is Emma Gray. And as I say, Greta Gray was the first chairperson of the club 53 years ago, I believe, when it was formed there in Nafina, and hard to believe they've never won this, Dennis.
It is. They've been close a couple of years, but have never just got there.
Yeah, they were in the 1995 final, I believe, and a few years ago they were in a semi and maybe a final, and of course the semi-final this year, I mean, they beat the champions, so they're very close, but 3 points down at the minute. Now it's just gone a little bit quieter in the ground, but down on the pitch it is furious. And these players really going at it. It's tough stuff down there, but nobody holding back at all. St. Vincent's trying to reassert their authority, and that's a great effort from distance, and it's not going to be allowed because the referee has blown. I'm not quite sure what the decision was there, Dennis. He
had his arm up for advantage, and I think the ball drifted wide in the end, so he's giving Vincent the advantage with a free in from Aisling Maher from the 45.
Good refereeing again. And it's Nafina with the last 2 scores of the game, but as I say, St. Vincent's now just trying to reassert their authority a little bit, but Nafina will be delighted to get those last 2 scores. I'm sure their management will be delighted, Dennis.
They will, and it's a pity. You've mentioned Emma Gray's played very well, and unfortunately the 2 efforts were good efforts but just drifted one left, one right. But they've come into the game. They've certainly come into the game a bit more in the last few minutes.
So you see the shot there, brilliant low camera shot from Morris, and that's 18.5 minutes gone, and Maher steadying herself to see if she can score from just outside the 45, and she indeed converts to make it 6 points to 2, and that's a 4-point lead again. But we have to stress again, they are playing with a pretty significant breeze. Now, can Fianna win this one? That's great distance actually from the puck out against the wind, and well won on a free. Lots of frees, and you can see a sense of frustration there, Dennis, or is that me?
From the Nafina player, yeah. I'm just looking at the
well, there's been a lot of fouls.
3, 7. I make it 8 committed by Vincent and 2 by Nafina, and it is slowing up the Nafina attack.
Well, the referee had a word as well there, and I think he spoke to Eva Marie Elliott and may have even shown a card.
He did.
Yeah, so maybe he's noticed it as well, and I'm not saying it's deliberate, but it is definitely slowing up the play every time they try to go forward. And maybe that's one reason why Nafina haven't been able to score from play. I mean, yes, they had a couple of wides from play, but really they haven't had too many efforts. It's been stop-start for them, but this could go just about anywhere, and battling in there is Eve O'Brien, the number 6 you see, named at 6 but playing in an advanced position. Free out. He didn't get the decision this time. So a tricky one for Nafina. I'd imagine they'll be reasonably happy after 20 minutes, but they'll not want to fall further behind by half-time, when then they'll have the win in the second half, I guess.
And they need to be winning those dirty balls in their own forward line. They haven't hardly won any of them yet.
Yeah, the dirty ball. That's a nice way to put it. They need to be in there winning those, but they just haven't as yet. Now Heatherton is trying to win her ball, and she puts her body between herself and the Nafina player and gets her reward. And that's the kind of way you got to be in. You got to be smart. She made sure that her opponent didn't get at it. And
again, a lesson that might be learned by the Nafina forwards to win the ground.
Exactly, yeah, because as I was saying earlier on, every time the ball goes in there, the St Vincent's forwards stand their ground, and they're the favourite to win it, and it's hard for the forward to win that kind of ball. But another free for Nafina, and this time it'll be taken by Baker. So she goes long, as they invariably do, and then it's a sort of a 50-50 battle, and most of those dirty balls, as you call it, those spills, those breaking balls, either they're falling to St Vincent's or they're just more alert, but they're winning most of them, aren't they?
They are, and I think, without wishing to be too critical, the balls are coming in that little bit high. Play them in front of the forwards, give them an opportunity. You mentioned earlier it's difficult.
Now look at this. Maher is coming all the way out. How far is that? That's the 65 at the other end. She's well inside her own half, so they're bringing her all the way out from full forward to take this. Does she fancy this as a win that strong?
If I were Nafina, I'd be watching Niamh Heatherton in on the edge of the square.
Yeah, this is obviously something that they fancy or have tried before. You can see the wind blowing in her jersey there, and that's very high and very dangerous, and it's gone right in there, but it's actually gone to the left. But she nearly scored a point. If that had been on target, it was over.
It was. She had no problem with the distance.
Amazing effort from Maher. Just didn't quite get there. Tierney. She's looking to get her team into it, but again, on the break, it was the number 15, actually, Callagher, as we expected, not playing in corner forward, playing out there, and she was first to it, but it spilled a few times, and it's ended with St Vincent's getting it again. And you would imagine if Maher nearly scored from inside her own half, you would put money on her scoring from here. Yeah. So what do you make of the game so far, Dennis?
It hasn't really developed a pattern yet, other than maybe a little bit stop-start from the frees, and I'm not being not critical of the referee. The frees are being given away. Maher
connects, and it looks on target to me, and it does also look on target to the umpire, and that's 7-2. And how many of those has Maher got?
6 of them.
6 out of 7.
And four place balls.
Yeah, that's the difference on the scoreboard, but it doesn't quite tell the whole story. But certainly she has been excellent tonight. Tierney puts it high into the night air here in the north side, and it's won again by the Vincents, and it's driven into the forwards by Anya Woods. That's brilliant play from her. She actually missed the final last year with a broken collarbone, so she's delighted to be back, and that's good play by her. This is the other number 8, Baker, who's playing very deep. She's not playing around the middle, and this is the fullback, Niamh Gleeson, who's in Boston for the summer and is back now with their team helping her, and that's broken nicely, and it's Emma Gray, and she dispatches it into the forwards. It's a race. Can they win the dirty ball this time? Nafina, again, they do not. It was a lovely touch from Sophie, or from Laura Smith actually, but now this is better battling from Nafina, but they've actually fouled, and it's going to be a free out.
Yeah.
And it was Laura Smith, the number 4 for St Vincent's, who got the important touch, vice captain of the team last year and this, and they just seem to be getting to the ball quicker.
They are, even that ball coming in there now, it was a good ball in for the forward in front of her, and the Vincent's girl won it.
So on YouTube messages, Anne-Marie Gray watching from Italy, from Lake Garda, come on Nafina. Esther O'Hara, come on Nafina, best of luck. John Barton, come on Nafina. Hannah McInerney, come on Nafina. And Maeve Bulger, the one voice for the Vinnies, she says, come on the Vinnies. And they are doing well, the Vinnies. 7-2 up, they've re-established their 5-point lead. Now around this area of the pitch it's quite even. That's good play from Callagher again, and that crossfield ball that they like to play, but it's been intercepted. And here's a chance now for Nafina. Elise Jameson Murphy, county player, drives forward. This is what they need from her. That's brilliant. She drops a shoulder, comes inside, leaves it off, and the effort is from Eve O'Brien, but brilliantly blocked down again. Now the referee, I think, has seen an obstruction there, And he says we're not having that, and that was well spotted by the referee, and he penalises Gráinne Quinn there because it was really nice forward play.
It was, and it was what you might call a professional foul. Eve O'Brien was running to take the return pass, and Gráinne Quinn might argue she held her ground, but it was what they'd say the third player tackle.
It's sort of been a cameo of the first half that whenever Nafina have tried to go forward, they found someone in their way, not always necessarily legally, and they've been trying to find a way around, and they've got a point out of it at least, but it's 7 points to 3, 4 points down, but really nice burst of play there by the county midfielder from Nafina. Now the slither is over on the sand side, drops to Heatherton. She gets her hurl to it, but doesn't manage to stop it. Now there's 2 Nafina players in there, but one from St Vincent's, and it's the Vincents who get it. Now that looks like it's picked off the ground by Anya Woods, but she gets it back, and it looks like a point drilled over by Ava Lamb. Oh my goodness, is she the youngest player on the pitch? She won't do her leaving cert until 2023, but she has graduated with honours there with that excellent point. 8 points to 3, Dennis.
It was, and again you had 2 Nafina players, and it was the one Vincent player who won the ball.
Really good score, and a great response as well from St Vincent's, just to say to Nafina, okay, you got a score there, but you've only got 3 from play, and look what we can do. Now 2 players from each side battling in there. Gray is involved in there, and so is Alex Griffin for Nafina, but St Vincent's fighting for, this is the dirty ball, Dennis, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've won this one.
She's done well. Gray gets the decision in the end, and I like the way the referee lets them at it in there. Lets them go for it, but in the end that is the kind of ball that they need to win. Now the Lions people tonight, one of them getting involved there, it's John Doherty and Kieran Russell. Haven't scored yet from play, but just to re-emphasise, Nafina playing into the wind, and it is quite significant. Now she's not going for her score, she's dropping that nicely into the forwards and trying just to get possession, and that's well worked because Eve O'Brien has it, and she goes for an effort, either a point or a score. Don't think she's going to get either. 2 players end up on the ground. Referee says play on. It was Arlene Cushion, and the ball is cleared, and they all are looking where to go. St Vincent's have it. It slipped through the legs, and now they're trying to get it in there, but Nafina playing very conservatively, or tactically very conservatively. They seem to have at least 1, maybe 2 players back there every time. They're very aware of the threat of Maher, and they certainly don't want to concede a goal. I'll bring Dennis in on that in a minute. In fact, I'll bring you in now on that. They seem to have at least 1 or 2 sweepers back there.
They have. They're playing Roisin Baker in the centre back position, and Gráinne Free with Muireann Keller out hasn't followed her, so Gráinne is staying in front of Aisling Maher. And they get possession through Emma Deely. St Vincent's also, it has to be said, are playing a little bit cautiously as well, with at least 1 player drop back, but that's kind of the modern way, isn't it? It is, and a lot in a game like this where it's not really free flowing. The player holding that centre back position is the one that does that better.
And when you say better, notice a comment a few weeks ago, was it Kieran McGeaney or someone was saying there's no point having someone, or Jim McGuinness was saying there's no point having a sweeper there if they don't know how to play it and don't play it very well. But both seem to be playing well in that area, and that's why we've no goals so far. We've only had 1 effort at a goal that was deflected before it got even as far as the goalkeeper. Nafina would love a goal now, and it's broken in there, and it's dangerous. They try to get a stick on it, just play it on the ground, but it's actually a free out. And how many times has that happened for Nafina? It's been a frustrating first half for them, and for people watching on YouTube, like Cian Guckian says come on Nafina, and Alan Burke who says come on St Vincent's. He says he's watching from Peru. I don't believe him. Maybe he is. And Sinead Kelly says come on the Vinny. So good to have you all watching. We hope you are enjoying the coverage. The first half is absolutely flowing by, and the referee making very clear what the decision was there. And I think we're hearing an announcement now and saying that there'll be 2 minutes extra at the end of the half, but it's flown by, Dennis, hasn't it?
It has. It's gone really well. Even though it was a little bit stop-start early on, the last 10 minutes it's flown up and down. It's a pity from a neutral's point of view that Nafina didn't put over a couple of those more points. It'll be nice. Now they won't be too unhappy going in against the wind if they can keep it to 5.
Exactly, yeah, and they will have the wind in the second half. They'll certainly not be out of touch, but they don't want to concede another one here, and that's better from them now. Emma Deely, the number 10. Her dad played for Dublin, and she has won that. I'm sure he's in the crowd tonight. A lot of family members in the crowd tonight. Big crowd, great occasion here on a Friday night under lights But here's a chance now for Claire Donnelly from St Vincent's, and that's well worked by her, and she just puts it into the danger area and sees what comes out of it. But good defending this time from Nafina, and it was Sophie Reid, only 18 in there, number 4. You see her there battling for the ball. Great work from her. But St Vincent's come again on a brilliant block there by the other cornerback, and that was Grania Free, the joint captain, the primary school teacher. That was superb work from her, but St Vincent's keep coming. Now she's not happy with that effort. It's going to drop low. Keeper has to watch it. Oh my goodness, it's a nightmare for the goalkeeper. It just bobbled at the last minute. It's one of those ones you just hope won't happen. But she watched it, and it looked easy, and at the last moment it just bobbled away from her. Such bad luck for the goalkeeper and bad luck for her team. Just one of those things. But what a catch there by Elise Jameson Murphy. Can they respond before half time? This game has gone up a level in the last 30 seconds or so, but St Vincent's once again have all of the answers, and they have a free as well, and you really have to feel for the keeper there, Dennis.
It was one of those very unfortunate ones, because the ball wasn't struck that well and it just bobbled on the ground, and while the pitch is in great condition, the goalmats are always going to have that little bit of unevenness in them.
I just saw the player when she struck it. She was actually disappointed. She was going for a point, so she didn't even mean to go for a goal. So that was unfortunate for Nafina to concede a goal there, but I suppose it could always happen. And there's a free as well. They're giving away a lot of frees now as well, and that could mean that we are going to a 1-9-3, and we've gone from a reachable distance between the teams now to maybe 9 points. We said, what was it a minute ago, they need to keep it to half time, and all of a sudden, very disappointing for Nafina. But St Vincent's finishing the half with a flourish, scoring an excellent goal. Well, not an excellent goal, but an excellent for them to have a goal, and 2 excellent points, and that takes them now to 1-9-3 points, and there is serious daylight, even though we're playing at night time, between the teams. But yes, a goal right at the end of the half, and there is the end of the half, and it is 1-9-3 points, and you can just sense that the crowd have gone a little bit subdued. St Vincent's very happy to be where they are, but Nafina just rocked by that 1-2 in the last 2 minutes there, and we see now the arrangements being made for half time as the players run off. We're going to have underage games on the pitch, and lots of kids coming out, and look at them over on the far side. We can see them on the shot there, all coming out, and look at the size of them, the tots coming out. What an occasion for them, and they all look fantastic with their helmets and their hurls tearing out onto the pitch, and that really is what it's all about, Dennis. And there's so many of them there from both clubs involved tonight, and what an occasion for them to get out and play in the big night.
Yeah, and it is one of the big things about your club reaching a county final like this, is for the underage players to appreciate it and get a sense of it, and a great initiative to have the under-8s out there and showing off their skills. Absolutely, and we watch those shots. Look how excited they are, bouncing up and down. Coaches trying to explain to them what to do, but they're not listening. No. They're just saying, you go up there and throw the ball in, and we'll have the fun here. They're just so excited to be out there. And look, the coaches are saying, you're not up there, you're over here, trying to get them in as well. And in the background there, you see the management teams going in. Just going back to the main interest tonight, the Senior 1 Championship final sponsored by Go Ahead. Your thoughts just generally, Dennis, on the first half as we finish it? Yeah, well, Vincent's is the favourite, and having come through the group unbeaten, and Nafina wouldn't have been as impressive in the group. Nafina would have wanted to be in it at half time. We said 3-4 minutes ago 5 points wouldn't have been the worst. That 1-2 makes a huge difference. I think really Nafina need to come out and have a really strong first 10 minutes in the second half, or else the game might just go away from them.
Yeah, it was so unfortunate for them. You felt for them there because they'd done so well, and you thought they were within reach, and then the goalkeeper, I mean, your heart goes out to her, but it's just one of those things. And then a couple of frees. But St Vincent's, you know, from their point of view, they've played so well, and they've Maher as well up there, and when you've got Maher up there, she even tried to point one from inside her own half. She's deadly. She
is, yeah. Now she's got 7 of their 9 points, and takes 2 players, so she's taken a second player with her, which gives a bit of space to the others to win ball and win the free or whatever. So yeah, it's a big challenge now for the Nafina backroom team to get it right now for the second half.
Absolutely. Now there's a lovely shot we have, and that's from Morris, our sideline cameraman. He's a Nafina man as well, so he's extra enthusiasm, shall we say, tonight. But that's a lovely shot there. And that man bringing the flag out is Eamon Kelly from the St Mark's Club. And behind that is Kathy Walsh there waving to the crowd. This is the 1992 Down team, and they were the first winners of the All-Ireland Intermediate Championship. We take it for granted now, don't we? Sorry? For Dublin, sorry, I'm getting mixed up, but yeah, you know what I mean, it's for Dublin. They beat Down in that final. Dennis very quickly correct me there, you're just right. But they won the first intermediate, and I didn't even realise that was the first year. It didn't start until then, but that was the first year of it, and they won it. So the players been introduced to the crowd here tonight, been honoured tonight, exactly 30 years on. And you're maybe thinking there's not that many players out there, but it was actually 12 aside Camogie in those days, and that was the last year of 12 aside. And Kathy Walsh, we interviewed before the game, she's standing beside Eamon Kelly, who has the flag, and Eamon was a member of the backroom team, and also in the backroom team you had Judy Doyle, Mary Matthews and Dr. Heidi Lee. So the players having their moment now 30 years later. They did beat Down up in Ballygalgate, actually on the Ards Peninsula in County Down, and they were 7 points down, Dennis, with 10 minutes to go. He scored 4 goals in the last 10 minutes. 2 of them were actually from Geraldine Dunn, who's out there, and apparently she threw off her helmet. In those days you could do that, and she just lost the head and lost the helmet and fired in 2 goals, and the other 2 were from the only player who's not with us anymore, and that's Louise Lynch. So they finished in an absolute flourish and won that, and that was a memorable day for them. So it's great to see them out here tonight and being honoured here tonight. Do you know any of them, Dennis?
Oh, I would. I played all my hurling with Crumlin, and we have 2 or 3 players there from Crumlin, Kathy and Ruth, and Kathy Walsh, Ruth and Catherine Boyle would all be stalwarts in Crumlin now. Louise Lynch, God rest her, played, I would have managed teams against Louise, and she played on well into her, and was a great warrior and played very well. A good team.
That's what you call enjoying your moment.
Yeah.
She really did. Fair play. The goalkeeper was actually Louise Curry from St Monica's. A lot of them were St Monica's, and she won an All-Ireland Senior with Galway in 1996.
She did, and if my recollection is right, I think was involved with Oliver Plunkett since, and played and gave good service to Oliver Plunkett, if my recollection is correct.
Louise Lynch.
No, Louise Curry.
Louise Curry was Louise Lynch.
She was Oliver Plunkett and then went to Vincent's.
Oh, was that what it was?
She finished her career with Vincent's, yeah.
That's what it was. And they also have Colette Murphy from Nafina, Catherine Boyle from St Monica's, 4 Kathy Walsh from Crumlin, the captain, Miriam Mulligan from Good Counsel, Ruth Lyons from Crumlin, Mary Duan from Erin's Isle, Geraldine Dunn, St Monica's. Where was St Monica's?
St Monica's is out north side, out around Donamead, that direction.
Not far away.
Yeah, and a lot of those players would have moved to other clubs. Some Monica's didn't survive as a Camogie club.
Well, they're going to have a parade as well, and they've got the pipes and everything.
Yeah.
They're really doing it the right way, and they're being honoured in style here tonight, and why not? There was also Christine Lester from St Monica's, Patricia Finneran from Bowden, and Grace O'Neill also from Bowden, and Regina Birmingham, Good Counsel, Audrey Maguire, St Mark, Karen McCabe, St Monica's, Catherine Dunn, St Monica's, Sive Henderson from Nafina, and Paula Carroll from Niamh Myrnog. So those girls all being honoured and now gone off after having their little moment there 30 years on. And I'm sure I read some of the reports about the game 30 years ago up in Ballygalgate. Apparently now it's quite, shall we say, rural, and there's a few clubs up there, but they would be the one that most people might know out of the ones on the Ards, and they had to get changed apparently in a hut, and those were the days in the middle of the Troubles and everything.
Yeah. But
apparently they had a bottle of champagne there as well, and they celebrated after, so great memories and great to see them. They're out there in the middle, and there's kids out there, and there's ones playing around at Parnell Park. It's quite a sight to see with them and everybody else out here. Everyone's getting their run, shall we say.
Yeah, it's a great initiative, Joe, and you've seen it on many pitches around the country now at half time in games, and fair dues to county boards. And I know at times we have to be careful of the pitches, but to see the kids of that age out for the hurling and the Camogie matches, it's great to see.
And what I'm also noticing out there's a lot of young lads.
Yeah,
not just girls.
Yeah. It's one of the things, Jerome, coming into Parnell here, and last weekend there was the hurling semi-quarterfinals, and is that as you walk into Parnell Park now any night there's a hurling match, every young boy and young girl is coming in with the hurling, and woe betide anybody who tries to stop them going onto the pitch at half time.
Absolutely, you have no chance of stopping them there or getting in front of the camera. They're loving getting in front of the camera as well. Morris is trying to get a few shots of the game. but as you say, they all just want to be here tonight, and they had the ladies final here last week as well, and it's a great initiative, the Friday night under lights, because I've mentioned the other counties about moving, but a lot of them are playing their county finals in ladies football on Camogie on the Saturday or Sunday, but it's clashing with so many other games that they're not getting much profile. But look at the profile this is getting tonight.
Yeah. It's one of the big challenges with getting the fixture for the county finals right is the clashes with other, like last weekend there were 100 club matches, hurling matches in Dublin, and
in Dublin alone.
And
now that's underage. Whole of
no, that's underage all the way up, and you wonder then, like the crowd in here for the quarterfinals didn't look great, but there were people at matches all around the city and county.
I thought I saw something during the week from the GEA, and I think, no, I did see it. I didn't just think I saw it. I saw it. There was 100 like senior club championship matches throughout the whole country.
Yeah.
So this is the result of the split season. You have this crammed in now. I don't mean that in the negative way. There's just so many huge games at club level all around the country this weekend.
There are, and it's hard to keep up actually. As you know, very often you might have 2 or 3 months where you have the semi-finals, finals coming through from the counties, but they're happening now week in, week out.
We mentioned before the game, of course, that Brian Mullins had passed away just today. Great St Vincent's man. I wonder how the St Vincent's people felt, because they met at 6:30, the game 7:30. They met at their clubhouse. They had this thing called March to Parnell, so they met at their own clubhouse to walk here. I'm sure that was a very poignant thing for them, and they've come here, and I'm wondering how they thought of Brian Mullins being in their mind has actually influenced the actual play out here so much tonight, and they're doing it for him, if you like.
And Vincent's across all the codes over the years would have a great club spirit, and I think it is a very sad day for them, but I do think, Jerome, you're right in that it would only have, if they needed it at all, added a bit of steel and incentive to them tonight, because I think you mentioned downstairs, you know, Brian himself, I'm sure, would have wanted nothing other than a Vincent's victory here tonight. You know, on the day that he passed away, he'd recognise that as a great recognition of the club.
And I know a lot of the young people here tonight might not know of Brian Mullins, but then again, was it Kathy was telling us, or somebody was telling us, no, it was Dermot, the PRO for St Vincent's, was saying that Brian earlier this year, even though he wasn't that well, put himself forward for a position in the club, so he was still well known around the club, a big Vincent's man.
Yeah, and you used the word big. He was a big presence. You know, you wouldn't
never
miss
said
him.
Mullins without saying big.
Yeah.
Big Brian Mullins.
Yeah,
he was certainly a big character and a big player, and a big influence around UCD, where he was really loved as well. There was him and Dave Billings there, and I've been around a lot of games over there with Sigerson and Fitzgibbon down the years, and it's just not the same. They have the Dave Billings Park now, and then Brian was there, and the two fellas are not there, and the place was synonymous for those two.
Yeah. They were, and I would have known Dave a lot better than Brian, and both of them gave their heart and soul to the game, both in the club and in UCD when they moved into UCD after their other careers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at a flag down there, somebody's got a jersey on a flag, and it's fluttering quite violently from left to right. So as we go prepare now to talk about the second half, it's still going to be a big influence, and maybe I underestimated that a little bit in the first half of just how strong that wind is, and maybe it was a bigger factor.
Yeah, well, it was interesting, Jerome, because I thought with the first couple of puckouts from Ciara Tierney in the Nafina goal that it wasn't a huge factor, but when you saw the length that Ashmar got from the free here from the 65 and Grania Quinn from her couple of clearances, I think it will have. Now, the big trick for Nafina is how best to use that, and I think they are going to have to push up and maybe take 1 or 2 risks, not mad risks for the first 10 minutes, but you know, don't lie so deep and try and get the ball in. I think they need to get one-on-one in the forward line and try and win those balls in there.
What I'm thinking though, the puckouts from Ciara Tierney, they got quite good distance, but the crucial thing was that when she put them very high, and then they stopped dead, and that's easier for the defenders and harder for the forwards, so that was the influence as well. Yeah,
it's the challenge with playing against the wind, in that it tends to hold the ball up and drop on the player then. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a rest for a minute, because we've Declan Drake here now. If you give me your headphone there, we'll get a word from him about the first half, because the second half is showing no signs of arriving just yet. So Declan, you were here before the game. Thanks for coming up here to the commentary point after. What do you think of the first half?
Do you know something now, Jerome? It's almost a carbon replica of what the ladies' football final here was last week. You know, Kilmacud Croke stormed off in the first half, and Thomas Davis produced the comeback in the second half, which fell just a little bit short. Vincent's have been vastly superior in all sectors of the park. You know, Aisling Maher in particular, both from play and place balls, as you probably well discussed, has been on fire. So have been a better team. They deserve their lead at the moment. A bit fortuitous with the goal, but you'll take those breaks, won't you?
You will, and it was unlucky for the goalkeeper, and it was one of those things you thought, has that put the game out of sight for Nafina? But they will have a strong wind. I mean, it's stronger than you would maybe think, and you've been down there. It is strong. It is
strong, yeah, it is strong. And you know, that 10-15 minutes in that dressing room for their management, that's a really crucial period. If they can come out, get the first couple of scores of the second half, particularly an early goal, well, you know, you never know what might happen on the night.
Exactly, yeah, so we'll not give up on it just yet. But on the occasion, brilliant occasion, you know, the lights here are fantastic, the pitch is in great nick, and a big crowd here as well. The Friday nights is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic that both the ladies football and the Camogie County Board have been able to get Parnell Park on consecutive Friday nights. As you say, that the crowd is fantastic, but I think we're very blessed with the weather as well, Jerome, because you would have seen it earlier on, and the weather wasn't so great in Dublin. There was a lot of heavy rain. Thankfully that's cleared. It's a pleasant enough late September evening here now. Pitch is in fantastic condition considering all the traffic that's on it. We've got 4 championship football matches to come here over the weekend as well, so looking forward to an exciting second half.
And credit to Dublin Camogie, they've got the kids out there as well. They've had their moment. The 1992 team have been honoured as well, and the match programme is fantastic. The live streaming is provided. I mean, fair play to Dublin Camogie for putting this on and making sure as many people we've had people watching from Lake Garda to San Francisco.
Yeah, it's fantastic seeing Nafina coming back out onto the pitch as well. But that's what it's all about, Jerome, is equality and inclusion. All 4 codes in Dublin are treated exactly the same. They're under the same sponsorship banner and that. So it's fantastic to see these girls get their night out tonight, and look forward to an exciting second half to come.
Right, and the crowd enjoying it as well, as you see there on our low camera as well. And we'll get you at the end. So we're doing a player of the match presentation at the end over here, and you're going to try and get a few interviews down below, and the camera Morris is down below, so we'll have all that in the presentation as well. So see you later. Thanks very much to Declan.
Thanks, Jerome.
And we'll bring Dennis back in as well. Now, one team is out on the pitch, that is Nafina, but actually St Vincent's are not out in the field yet. So the team that are 9 points behind and they haven't scored yet from play, just the 3 frees, but playing against that strong wind, they are out on the pitch earlier than St Vincent's, and they will be looking to put up a really good start in the second half, as Declan Draco saying. St Vincent's now coming out onto the pitch, looking to see if there's any changes. Well, at midfield there you see obviously Eve O'Brien wearing number 6 but playing midfield, and that was how they lined out really from the start. But it's St Vincent's with this big lead. Dennis, do you see any changes, or what do you see about the second half, or what are your thoughts early on? Declan was saying he thinks that if Nafina get an early goal, you never know. There was a big comeback in the ladies' final last week.
Yeah, I think as a game, the game needs Nafina to get a goal, or you know, get 3, 4, 5 points, because as I mentioned, just going into half time, if they don't, there's a danger of this drifting away from them, and the Nafina or the Vincent's players have that experience. You know, Leinster champions back in 2019, and there's a good number of these teams played on that.
Yeah, it's their 4th final in a row.
Yeah, and I'd say they would have hurt losing the last 2. It certainly hurt them.
Yeah, we saw the one last year at Abbottstown. We were there, and they were very disappointed. Obviously, they were beaten in the end by Judes, who won the last 2. Nafina have never won it, but what can they do here? If they can get a goal early on with the wind in their backs, you'd never know. But St Vincent's will be having none of that, as you see from the exchange in the first 10 seconds of the half. They're getting stuck in as he did in the first half, but it is Nafina's midfielder, Jameson Murphy, and drives it in, and that could be a free. The referee actually, I thought he took his whistle to his mouth and then changed his mind there, Dennis.
He did.
So no free given, and that would have been a good start, because it was a very scoreable sort of position, but maybe he thought it was just a collision of the heels or something. But a free not given, and a free now given the other way for St Vincent's. That's 2 decisions that Nafina will be frustrated about, shall we say, Dennis?
Yeah, and when you have Aisling Maher on the frees, I know she's into the wind here, and it's not a gimme, but certainly it's a great opportunity for her.
Maher, of course. So you're counting them up there. I really appreciate that you're taking note, because I start with those intentions and never add them up. So 9 points in the first half.
Yep.
And do you know how many of those from play?
2. I think 4 from play in total. Aisling got 7, and 4 of hers were from.
Now is this one going over?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, she doesn't miss even into the wind. That's possibly the most impressive one yet, and it sets the tone early in the second half. St Vincent saying, don't think you're going to make a comeback here.
Interesting to see this puck out now, distance wise.
Yeah, she's got it well over halfway, but what about that dirty ball, Dennis? That's the important thing. And there's Gray again. She wins it, and the referee is going to give her a free for that. She got down there and she won that dirty ball.
That's what they have to be doing.
On the YouTube channel where we're showing the game, Dublin Camogie, of course, Donica Kelleher says, Vinny's a boo from all the Kellehers in Kilnaboy. Good luck to Murren. And of course, she's a Clare girl. All right, this comes in from Neve Rock, but it's gone to the left. It was a big ask from out there, but definitely was scoreable. As I said earlier, she hit 11 out of 12 in the semi, but the need to get her on target early in the second half. But it's another point for St Vincent's rather than Nafina, which means there's now 10 in it. Long way back for Nafina, and that's a free for St Vincent's. Just go back to the messages. Annette Wynn says, come on, Nafina. Katrina Corley says, go on, Eamon. Congratulations, ladies. And Sarah says, yes, Vinny's. Great audience of around 600 devices on YouTube watching the game here tonight. And one of the pluses about putting the game on a Friday night, there's not much else on. So hopefully we're getting a big audience around the country and abroad.
And it's great to see a couple of those names I know, and they're working abroad, and that they have the opportunity to watch a game that they would have loved to be at.
Well, Claire Reaney in San Francisco, and the Greys in Lake Garda. I don't think they're working now on holiday, but even better. But plenty abroad, and by all means let us know where you're watching the game from and if you are enjoying it, and you'll certainly be enjoying it if you are from the Vinnies. Just up the road here, they might get through for a goal here. This looks ominous for Nafina, but they managed to hold out. Now Heatherton is in there and trying to angle herself to get the ball, and they don't get it as Nafina trying to clear their lines. Ruck of players, great pressure there, and she eventually is blown for over carrying. Immense pressure there from Heatherton, and I think from the number 18 for St Vincent's as well, who was in there, and that's Roisin Drohan. She's been in from the start, or actually it is. Yeah, it's a free in for them. Amazing pressure. Yeah,
and it's been a feature of the game, because again, over the far side in a couple of phases before that, you would have thought Nafina had possession, and Vincent's just pressurised them and they lost the possession.
And that's why this chance has come the way of Maher, and she doesn't miss. And there's now 11 in it, and it's a long way back from Nafina. And even though Vincent's are that far ahead, I'm looking off camera to see that they have a sweeper in there. Grania Quinn is free in there. They're watching it, and they're still pushing and driving as hard as they did at the start of the game. And look, they've won another exchange. They've just won so many exchanges all over the pitch. Declan Drake was saying at half time that they were just miles better over most of the field, and then they have the star forward in Aisling Maher, the all-star, and she has been an all-star so far. And there's another decision going for the Vinnies, and strangely enough, Dennis, at times to me it doesn't feel like a one-sided game, but St Vincent's just seem to be getting all the scores.
Yeah, they have the scores, and they have the edge in a lot of the battles, as we say. And unfortunately for Nafina now, that's their fourth free conceded now at the start of the second half, which they hadn't been doing in the first half.
Now, it's a fair distance out, but Maher will try it, and I'm certainly not going to doubt her, but it's nearly out at the 65, and it's on the right, but she's got her confidence up, playing into the wind. Put one over earlier from not too far over that way. Now the referee has gone to talk to someone on the sideline, so that's held her up a little bit, but she goes through her routine. County player measures it up. Wind seems to have dropped a little bit as well, but just a little bit. She puts it high, but it looks to the right, and it has gone just wide. She's missed one.
I was going to say, I think that makes her first wide of the night, Jerome.
We'll allow her that, to be fair. Now, there's an interesting one. They've gone short from the puck out to Grania free. That's a slightly different trajectory for the ball as well, and slightly different angle, and they get a free out of it as well, and that's Alex Griffin who's won the free. And I was just thinking in the first half, why do they keep going so high and so long, and when they go short it worked.
It did, and winning possession, and again we referred in the first half, when they win possession and run at them, there's a tendency for the Vincent's backs to give away the free, and maybe if they get that possession, short ball into the forwards and try and do that.
And the referee on it as well. He has booked Ciara O'Leary, the number 2, so he's not happy with the amount of fouling, and maybe those fouls would add up a little bit, although it's a different rule, of course, in Camogie to ladies football. If that was ladies football, she might have been put off for 10 minutes, but it's just a yellow card here. Now our camera beautifully behind this. Morris has that. He's a Nafina man, and this girl Niamh Rock is a Nafina man, and she scores for Nafina. The local derby is not over yet. It is 4 points now for Nafina, and that's 4 from frees, but a more welcome one, shall we say. Just 7 minutes into the second half, and it might just get them going a little bit. Now the referee isn't happy with something. He's gone in to talk to the goalkeeper. Actually, no, it's some people behind the goals that he doesn't want to be there. He's clearing them from that area before we continue, but I wonder, will that kickstart Nafina a little bit, or is that too much to ask? Puck out, well struck. You could hear the slither of the boss of the hurl there. She gets it around the middle, didn't go too high as well, but Roisin Baker is battling in there. 6 or 7 players battling, and this is where they really need to get in there and win it. But Vincent's tougher in that little exchange, and sharper, and just getting the ball and working their way out. That's Drohan, she gets it, and it's blue and white winning most of those exchanges, and then they go for that nice crossfield ball that's hard to defend, and that is Donnelly going for it. And what a player, and what a comeback she has made this year. That's a great dangerous ball in, and there could be a goal out of this that would really kill this game. They might go for it here. It's Maher trying to get a little bit of room, and she's held in there, and that was all about Donnelly's ball in. She played a great ball in there, and it's great to see Donnelly back. She has, would you believe, run 2 Dublin marathons, and she's had 2 kids as well. She had one last year, just before the final last year that they won. They have her back as well, and Vincent's are looking stronger, shall we say, than last year, and certainly in a much better position. Yeah,
and you mentioned Claire, like a great character, and kind of epitomises the liveliness and the drive of the Vincent's team tonight.
Sarah Flynn says, "Hup the Vins, turned in from Bilbao." Now really? Is there a little street near here called Bilbao Street? Maybe. Is she really there? Maybe she is. Lorcan Nolan says, "Shout out to Jennifer. Come on, Nafina." And Tom Bulger watching in Corfu. Come on, the Vinnies. Maybe there's a lot of people going on holidays this time of the year, yeah? Cheaper when you get the kids back at school. Maybe. And there's still good weather, so hope you're enjoying the good weather and those foreign places, and being able to keep in touch with the game here tonight in the north side of Dublin. 112 plays 14. That's 15-4, 11 points in it. And the Vinnies inspired tonight the way they're playing, but that ball is going to drop to the sweeper, and she drives it. That's Grania Free, the joint captain, and drives it right all the way down to Jameson Murphy, number 9 on her back, but playing in the full forward area and winning a free as well. Not happy, Dennis?
50-50 call there. The forward got the advantage there. Now it was a great ball in, and I see that's Elise Jamison Murphy they moved in, who isn't really good and will be able to will go for goal if she gets the opportunity. Her brother played full forward here for Nafina last week and has a similar style.
And converted nicely, but that's an interesting tactical switch then, Dennis, that they've put her in there.
It is, and it would appear that ball in from Roisin Baker here, that they have decided that's a ball that they need to try and get some, and herself and Eve O'Brien are now on the full forward line, 2 very strong players.
Yeah, there's no doubting the intent of that positional switch there. And the Fianna have to go for it, to be fair. Now that is good, brave work in there, but good blocking down as well. And it was the number 12, Alex Griffin, trying to make some headway, but good defending, to be fair. And both teams, like a rugby situation, like a ruck in there. Where is the ball? Where is it going to pop out? Now it pops out, and it's Vincent's, of course. And they win it, and it's their centre half forward, Ava Lamb, doing really well there. And coming in again for another ruck right down in front of us. We're perfectly over this one, and you see it in our low camera there as well, a lovely shot of it. You couldn't get closer to the action from our cameras here tonight. Heatherton bursts through and says, I'll take that. And she drops the shoulder inside as well. That's great work from her, but blown for overcarrying at the end of all that. Determined to play, and she's taken a knock for her troubles as well, but it's ended up in a free for Nafina. And you know where this is going from Baker, right down to the edge of the square. I'm looking to see who's down there, Dennis. And yes, the players you mentioned who have gone in there, they have an eye for goal, and boy do they need a goal now. Nafina, beautifully taken by Eve O'Brien, former Dublin captain, but what a tackle in there from Laura Smith, and she has managed somehow to dispossess her in there, and that's the way the game has gone tonight. Every time Nafina think they're going to get somewhere, St Vincent's have the answers, and that's why Nafina still haven't scored from play. And there's a heavy challenge coming in there from Baker. She uses her shoulder and wins the ball, but even when they win the ball, they don't seem to be able to hold on to it. Baker, though, does have it again, plays a nice little short ball in there rather than the expected high ball. Now it goes in high from cushion. That's gone to the left and wide, and the agony continues for Nafina. But what about that challenge out there from Laura Smith?
That was a great tackle on Eve O'Brien, because she was going to go around her, and you might be critical she didn't protect the ball, but a great stick tackle from Laura Smith. Very, very clean.
And it just sort of sums up the way the game has been going. Now there's an injury here, that's why the game has been held up a little bit. The injury way over to our left, and you see our low camera picking up the treatment there. Is it Heatherton?
It's Neve, it is, I'd say.
It is, yes. She took that knock a minute ago, so she's getting a little bit of treatment there. And I'd say, Dennis, that she's got a lot of reason and a lot of motivation this year. In the final last year, there was a ball that came off her stick and it ended up in a goal for the Judes. I'm sure she is fired up this year, and she doesn't want to make any mistake this time and get it right. Yeah. And there was, 2 points in it in the end, so the goal made a difference. Yeah, they were 3 down, and then they had a chance at the end. They went for, tried for a goal or around the bar and put it over, and ended up 2 in it. So it was close, but it was a terrific game, really close game. And it looks on the evidence of tonight that the closer games have been in the semi-finals and quarter-finals, but unless Nafina can do something about this tonight. But it's been great to see Nafina in this final. They've never ever won it. It's a local derby, Nafina, and they are playing St Vincent's from Marino, just round the corner, and they are playing terrifically tonight. See the way the ball just goes to hand easier, and they deliver it easier, and they move it on. They know exactly what they're doing, and they just seem to be on top all over the field. And then they've got this girl up in the forwards, and she tries one from a bad angle. The crowd right behind it, and you can tell that they liked it, they loved it. It's another point for Maher, and she has nailed it for St Vincent's. Another great score, and they go to 113-5, and that's one of the best scores of the night, Dennis. It is, and it's her third from play. She's known for doing it from frees, but she's well able to put it over from play. But it was all about the move, though, wasn't it? The way they confidently moved up the pitch. And whether they use the hurl or kick it, it just seems to work for them. And then they just know to get that ball in there, because you have Maher in there. They don't have to look to see if she's there. They know that she's there. But this is Griffin, surrounded by blue and white jerseys. Needs a bit of help, gets a bit of help. Where is the slither in there? The referee has his whistle in his mouth, but he's letting it go. And in the end, I think that's Gray, who did really well there and got the ball delivered. Now they need something to happen in here, Nafina, and it might be Eve O'Brien who makes it happen, but again they have been thwarted by terrific defence, and they just can't find a way through, and it's wide. Brilliant defending, to be fair, Dennis. And that was Laura Smith again. They seem to have put Laura Smith on Eve O'Brien as one of the danger players in there, and that's 2 tremendous tackles for goal scoring opportunities. It's heartbreaking for Nafina, I'm sure, because they just can't get a break. Just trying to look, was it actually Gray who put the ball in, or was it Maeve Nicalicon? I'm not quite sure. I saw 5. I couldn't tell if it was 5 or 15 from this angle, but either way, it didn't end up in a score. Griffin getting involved again. And that's well cleared by Ava Lamb, I think it was, a centre half forward. She's having a super game in there. And another free, but this time goes away off Nafina. And is that Heatherton again going down? No, it's not Heatherton actually, it's somebody else, but somebody else in pain. And it's another St Vincent's player, referee coming over, and even though it's pain, it's actually a free the other way. Oh, it's Kelleher, is it? Yeah, it is Kelleher. So she is in a little bit of discomfort there, shall we say. She's on her back and that one hurt. Hopefully she'll be okay in a minute. So 45 minutes gone, 3/4 of the way through the game, and the comeback from Nafina has not materialised. And I'm trying to remember the 5th point. Was it a free as well? I think it was. Or yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So they still haven't scored from play, and therein lies the story.
It does.
Yeah, Callagher seems to be okay. So Clare girl, as I was saying, she's from County Clare, and apparently an Irish dancer. And apparently she does mindfulness as well before the game. That's her way of preparing for the game. And now she's having to get a little bit of treatment, or is it the referee making sure that the people giving the treatment are outside the line, and he's telling them actually, yeah, you need to go back over to the other side. More importantly, we'll get back to the play, and Callagher is okay. In fact, she's right down in front of us here, and she's moving quite well. She's fine.
To take a lot to take Wirren out of this game now. She's a strong, athletic player and very, very durable, let's say.
1:13 plays 5. 47 minutes gone, and we're going to have a substitution. That's what the hold-up is, and it's a Nafina switch, and really they do have to make a few switches. St Vincent's also making a switch, and they're taking off Emma Gray, number 15. Now, I thought it had a very good first half, and she is being replaced. I'm trying to see the number. I can't quite get it, but you can keep an eye on that, Dennis, while I follow the play. The Vincent substitution has not been made just yet. There's a good, was that a pull or just getting a stick on it? But it actually is 19 for Nafina. Ellen Quigley, who's gone in, but same result. Ball comes back out, and here is Callagher. My goodness, she's recovered well. She's looking sprightly for a player who was down a minute ago. No problem to her at all. She wins the ball and puts it down, but this time it's down the throat of the defence. But there, Grania Free having difficulty picking the ball up. And that has been the difference for me all night. The ball just doesn't seem to stick when it goes to a Nafina player. But this one is better. Griffin catching that one. That one did stick, and she gets her free as well. Vincent's now going to make a switch, and it looks like 17. This was Ali Maguire, experienced player, of course. And she will maybe come into the play, and it looks like 18 is going off for Vincent's, and that would be Roisin Drohan, who started the game. So 17 for 18 is the switch, and Maguire is a fine player and a great player to be able to bring on.
And if you're from Nafina, Jerome, and watching the scoreline, and you see somebody like Ali Maguire coming on, it doesn't help the psychology.
But they might put this over. Niamh Rock on halfway, puts it right in there. Oh, and it's just gone to the left. And you just, from a Nafina point of view, Dennis, you just want those to be on target, and they're just so agonisingly just going to the side.
And again, that was out nearly at midfield. She had the distance and just drifted a little bit to the left.
And if it's on target, it asks such a question, but you know, it's just not happening for Nafina tonight. So disappointing for them, and it's St Vincent's looking to punish them. But this is the number 4, Sophie Reid, for Nafina, doing well, but it comes back in once again. I wonder, Dennis, at what stage do Nafina throw caution to the wind? They always seem to have 1 or 2 extra players at the back, but really there's not much point in having them there anymore, is there?
Yeah, I'd agree totally with you, Jerome. I think they have to push up 1-on-1 and win the ball down here.
Put everybody up. That's the way. Maybe that's a little bit naive from a coaching point of view, but they've nothing to lose. And this is Rock again, winning her own ball, but can she get it up? She can't. She's going to get a free though, and that should be a point, going by the way that she's been playing so far, and from that range we've seen her put a few over from there. Another substitution, and this time it is Nafina making a switch, and actually it's Niamh Rock going off, so she's not going to be able to take that. They're taking off their free taker just before she takes a free, which I'm not sure is very advised, but they'd obviously called it, and the player coming on is actually going to take it, and that is the number 18, and that is Emily Byrne. That's a strange one. I haven't seen that before. What do you think, Dennis? Coming straight on to switch their free taker. They say don't make a change before a corner in soccer, but hey, she's nailed it, no problem.
Nailed it, fair dues to her, because that's not easy, Jerome, coming on first touch with a free when your club really need it.
Well, she's got it, and their club do really need it. 6 points on the board for Nafina, 113. And we're into the last 10 minutes. There hasn't been a single goal threat from Nafina, but now they really need it. Now that slither has really held up in the night sky here with a win. That shows you how strong it is, but it doesn't matter if it's held up. You have to win the break, and St Vincent's won it. And look, their forwards out in front as well. Heatherton is there too. She's quickest onto the ball, and that has been the story of the game so far. She keeps going. And she's dispossessed, but illegally so, and it's a free in. And St Vincent's great response, Dennis.
It was a great response, and the other thing that you'd watch there is Heatherton got the ball, and as she started to move towards goal, Aisling Maher took a move to the right, brought the full back with her, and opened the space for Heatherton to drive through. And Grania Free, trying to do the stick tackle, just was a bit slow, and it came in around the elbow.
Our low camera right behind this, you see Aisling Maher's angle, and our high camera picks it up and puts it over the bar. Well, not the camera puts it over the bar, but Maher does. And that's another score from her, 114-6. How many, Dennis, is that now for Maher?
Well, she had 7 at half time, and that's 5, so she's on 12 points.
We might have a go-ahead player of the match decision, but we'll come to that in a few minutes' time. We're not quite there yet. We actually have the trophy up here beside us, and we'll be bringing it down to the sideline and presenting it. And Fianna are maybe saying, hold on, this game's not over yet. Are they going to get their first score of the game? Finally they do, and it's brilliantly taken by Alex Griffin, and the Dublin solicitor has put it over. We'll see it again, beautifully taken, worth waiting for, and she has had a good second half as well. She has led whatever sort of a comeback they have had, and that's well done to Griffin, and it brings it back 114-7. Doesn't look so bad now. Another substitution for Nafina. Sinead Rogers going off, the number 7, the 19-year-old, and she has gone off for the closing stages of this game, and number 21 is on. That's Kate Buckley for Nafina. Can those changes make a difference? They've launched it straight in there, but the referee has held the play up, and actually it went over the bar. In fact, I think it dropped into the net, but the referee had blown his whistle a good 5 or 6 seconds earlier, and he's going to show another card here, and I think this is about the 3rd or 4th card shown to a St Vincent's player.
It'll be the
3rd tonight, and it's shown to the midfielder Anya Woods. And a free in as well. Now, they don't look in a particular hurry to take this, but they are running out of time. Just checking your messages on YouTube to see what people are saying and where you're watching it. As this ball goes high, and has it gone over? It has indeed, and Nafina maybe not done yet. Up to 8 points now, and it doesn't look so bad. 114-8, and they've got a few in a row.
But as you said a few minutes ago, Jerome, they haven't had a goal opportunity, and they need to create 1 or 2.
Well, let's see if they can pile on the pressure now. St Vincent's have always had a response. Will they have a response again? Referee says free in. Could be 3 in a row. On those YouTube messages, I like this from Sean Hayes. He says, let's go, Vinny. He's watching from Barcelona, but I doubt the commentators will believe me. Well, okay, I'll believe you, you're in Barcelona. It's the ones that are maybe in South America that I'm not so sure about. Sometimes lads, Dennis, try to be a little bit funny, and they're down the road and they say they're watching in the Philippines or somewhere, you know. So excuse my cynicism or skepticism there, but I believe you, Sean. Jenny Costello says, come on, Nafina. Joe Russell says, watching from Tip now. I believe that. Keeping an eye on my nephew, and that's is it Tom Russell?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I see what you mean. So he's on the side there. I was wondering. Okay, and Lorcan Nolan. Shout out to Jennifer. That's 2 shout outs I've given her now. Hope she's enjoying the game, and that's the beauty of it. You're able to bring this game to people watching on the sofa or in Barcelona. Now the cornerback Laura Smith booked. That's 4 yellow cards now for the girls in blue and white playing against the team in yellow. Don't think they've any yellow cards, but this is their substitute who's come in confidently in the last few minutes. That's Emily Byrne. Shapes up to hit this one. We have it on our camera, and she puts it low actually, and it's gone towards goal. I don't know if she was going for it, but that could have ended up in the net. Maybe she got an instruction, but she didn't seem to deliver it very hard, so maybe it was just a miss hit. Either way, it's no score, and it's going to be a free out for Vincent. What did you make of that, Dennis?
I think she was aiming for the point and it just dropped short, but those balls are always dangerous. And I think the critical thing for me there was when the ball came back out, Elise Jamison-Murphy had the opportunity, ball bounced high, and then there was a Vincent's player in to knock it away and take the opportunity away from her. You know, they need to be trying to get that possession.
I'd say if they were going for a goal, she'd have driven it much harder.
Yeah.
Now we're getting lots of people around the world. Maeve O'Connor says she is watching from Chicago. She says go Roisin Baker. And Aoife Deegan says Monica Deegan watching from Gortahork in Canada. We've gone international. And we've also gone into the last 5 minutes of the game. Not the thriller that we had last year.
No, disappointing in that sense as a game. But again, Nafina have been up and coming. They came in under the radar a little bit this year. Struggled a little bit to get out of the group, but it's great for them to be here. And I know it'll be no consolation, but the experience should stand to them.
Well, they beat Jude's in the semi-finals. You know, they knocked out the champions, so they deserve to be here. But this looks like a chance. Could be another goal, and it is another goal. But the referee is actually bringing it all the way back. No goal. It's going to be a free out, actually, for Nafina. I thought that was the cream on top of the cake there for St Vincent. You see it again, and Maher a little bit disappointed there, but she won't be too disappointed.
I think the ball was actually over the sideline, which the referee gave it, because there was a coming together when Ashmar was going out, but the ball we were watching the play and the ball had gone over the line.
Good spot indeed. Now Nafina need to get the ball up. They need to get on the attack extremely quickly. They've got another free. They're in a hurry to take it this time. Baker wants to get in there. This is just what the doctor ordered, but there's another substitution, is it? Is it going to be held up? Yeah, I think there might be that, which will hold the game up a little bit. The referee is also maybe getting the card out again. I think he is, and he's giving it, maybe, is it Claire Donnelly who's going to get the yellow, and he reaches for it, and indeed it is a yellow. Is that 5 now?
It is.
The substitution looks like being 22 for 9 for Vincent's, I think. Or is that a 19? No, I think it's a 9, which would mean Danielle Smith going off and 22 going on. And that is Grace Gilroy, who is a daughter of Pat Gilroy. This is good work by Griffin, and she leaves it off well, and the substitute, who has been on target from frees, now puts one over from play. She has been impressive since she come on, hasn't she, Dennis?
She's made a huge difference, and she's moving around and putting herself in position to take that pass from Alex Griffin, who has really come into the game in the second half.
And that makes it 114 to 9, still 8 points behind. Surely too much to ask with 58 minutes on the clock. It's got a free though. Free for Nafina. Or is it a sideline ball? Either way, it is a Nafina ball, and they'll just want to get that into that goal area as quickly as possible. Now, the one they missed a few minutes ago, we don't think they were going for goal, but a point then would have left still 7 in it. They're lining up a substitution as well, and I know they want to get players on, but it's kind of breaking up the momentum.
It is
as well.
When they have a free in there now, getting the ball in would have made a difference.
So 10 Emma Daly has gone off, replaced by 17 Jenny Gleeson. So this has to go in and around the square. And she actually goes to the left a little bit, and it's tamely going out, and the referee says, yeah, that's wide. And surely that needed a bit of height on it, or at least get it on target.
Well, you know, Jerome, the old saying, if you're going to put it wide, don't put it wide on your own side of the goal. And a ball coming across there would have been a much more benefit to Nafina. That was disappointing.
Yeah, it's making it easy for the opposition. Lynette Mooney says, come on Nafina from Tenerife. And Diarmuid O'Connor says, come on the Vinnies watching from Toronto. And that's the beauty of making the game available on YouTube. Fair play to Dublin Camogie for doing that. Everyone has a chance to see this on a Friday night, and sure, there's nothing else on. There's nothing else on the telly. No other games on, so you may as well watch this great occasion here under lights in Parnell Park in the north side of Dublin.
A tough decision going against Nafina there. That was the sub Emily Byrne winning the ball well, and you could have argued that she was being held back and he pulled her up for overcarrying.
To be fair, he's been consistent in overcarrying.
He has.
So free for the Vinnies as they come forward late in this game. Are they going to finish in style as Heatherton? Oh, she's blocked, and that's good defending actually. Now Heatherton tried to go through, and now they're trying to go through with Donnelly. They're not giving up, and Donnelly gets her stick on it and puts it to the left and puts it wide. No score. Nafina have a player on the ground though that you might have seen in one of the shots there. She's going to require a little bit of treatment, and we are in added time, an injury time I think they used to call it, and they have a player injured as well. But 114 to 5, too late you feel for Nafina. So we're minutes away. I would imagine maybe 2-3 minutes at the most, Dennis.
That's, I'd say if we have, well, with there's been a few stoppages, all right, but I'd say three
or four.
Oh, he's put up 5.
He's put up 5. Wow, so he has 5 minutes. Well, maybe. Fair enough. And it'll be all held up a little bit further because there's treatment still being administered here. (114) plays 9. And off we go. So we reckon we've got another 4 minutes at least to play. What can Nafina do? That's brilliantly grabbed there, and that's the number 24, Ciara O'Looney. That was super work from her. Talk about winning dirty ball, and now this could be dangerous, and it's gone to the left. How many times has that happened for Nafina? They just haven't really had the rub of the green tonight, never mind anything else. Is that fair to say, Dennis?
It is, and their conversion rate, like they've had, at my count, in the order of 6 wides, and I think Vincent might have had 2 or 3.
That's well won. That's Griffin. What a second half she has had. She has led the charge, and she's won another free. And the referee, well, he's booked and he's penalised a lot. But, you know, from a Nafina point of view, it must be very frustrating that you haven't been able to get your game going at all, and their foul count has gone up so much. Another yellow card. And it's the number 5, Ellen McGovern. So it's nearly all of the back line, I would imagine, that has been booked in the game.
It's 4 of their back 8 booked at this stage.
Well, it goes low this time because she knows that she needs a goal, so just drives it in there. But it means that Nafina haven't really been able to build anything from play, and that's maybe why they've had no goal chances. But maybe now another free. They'll definitely want to drive this one low and hard, and the Vincent players are trying to get back there, and somebody has a sore wrist, I think.
I think that's Eve O'Brien down there. She was battling for that ball.
It is, yeah. Talk about going for a dirty ball and being brave. She'd be in there in the middle of that, but she's taking a bang for her troubles now. What she does, and she hammers it, and it's blocked on the line, but ends up, surely.
Nice.
I thought it was going to end up in the net. It looked like it was going there, but didn't. Incredibly, they have kept it out, and we can see a replay of it here again. We'll get another look at what happened. Driven, saved on the line, and it was saved by 2 different players in there. It wasn't even the one player. Great defending again, and even deep into added time, they still can't get a goal. Yeah,
and the first stop was good in that one, Jerome, but the second stop was really impressive because with a loose ball, nobody knows, and the defenders were really alert and took that off the line.
This one has to go into the same area. No, she goes higher and says, I'll just take my point, and makes it 114 to 10, and it's double figures for Nafina. But the figure on the clock is 63, nearly 64 minutes, 7 in it. And that puck out is very long and goes to the right hand side, and there's a collision there between 2 Nafina players, and actually the decision has gone to St Vincent's, and that kind of sums up Nafina's luck, doesn't it, Dennis?
It does, and he is giving the free for I suppose what you might call the traditional sandwich, but the 2 Nafina players came out worst out of it, having battled each other.
I know there was one Vincent's player and so many Nafina players so keen to get there. They were almost too keen. Maeve O'Connor says Roisin Baker and Eve O'Brien are my heroes. She's proud of them. Well, they certainly put up a great performance tonight. They have driven forward as they usually do, right up the middle. St Vincent's substitution, and it's 20 for 12, so that's Abby Farrell coming in for Claire Donnelly. Right at the end of the game, 65 minutes nearly played. I'd say we've still got another minute, maybe 2 at the most, even though they signalled 5, but there has been a delay in that time. So still another couple of minutes to play. And another ball breaking at the back. Nafina have more numbers back there, but not able to clear it. And the final whistle goes. We have no more time, and it is St Vincent's. They have got their title back. Jude's had it the last 2 years, but it's Vincent's. They are the champions for 2022 of the Go Ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship, with a brilliant and comprehensive performance to win the game by 114 to 10 points. And look what it means to their supporters coming on at the end to celebrate with the players. And it's also a poignant one under the Dublin skies here on a Friday night in Parnell Park, on the day that the great Brian Mullen from the St Vincent's Club has passed on. And no doubt he is looking down and smiling on the performance by these girls and doing the club proud tonight. He was a Vincent's man, always a Vincent's man, and this is a great night for St Vincent's.
It is a great night for St Vincent's, and as we mentioned earlier, you know, having lost the last 2 finals, they would have been absolutely determined to win this one. And you know, there's nobody here tonight would argue that on the night they were the better team, and the scoreline doesn't lie. Nafina just weren't able to get their game going, weren't able to get the goal chances, and were a little bit nervous, I think, all night. That possession didn't come as cleanly as it came to Vincent's.
And look at those shots. That's what it means to those girls in there. There's one hasn't even got her helmet off yet, so no time, and the blue and white flags are out there as well. Young ones, older ones shall we say, falling on the ground. They don't care, they're just getting stuck in there, and it's a real club feel about it. You know, it's the young ones and the old ones, and they all came along tonight. I mean, years gone by you mightn't have got huge crowds, but was it somebody was saying earlier on, was it Declan, they all like try to keep them off the pitch here now. So fair play to St Vincent's. They've won the local derby, they have the local bragging rights, and they are champions once again in Dublin in the senior Camogie. As I say, they won it in 2019 and they went on to win Leinster that year as well.
I was just about to say, Jerome, I'd say they'll celebrate for a few days and their minds will turn to Leinster. They are an ambitious club and they will certainly be looking at that again.
Now, can you give your headphone there a minute to Declan? We'll have a quick word with Declan. Declan Drake has joined us again. He joined us at half time and he talked about a possible comeback, and Dennis is going to go down onto the, or Declan is going to go down onto the pitch here, and we're going to have the presentation. We're going to stay on from that, but looking at the celebrations out here, the presentation's a good 5 minutes or at least off, because it'll take them a while to get everybody over to there. Declan, you've got the Player of the Match award there from Go Ahead, of course. Who are we giving it to?
Oh, Aisling Marr. All night. I mean,
I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Outstanding display from her, particularly of free taking, and she was the catalyst for everything good that they did tonight. So, look, it's great to see them back on top. This is a huge disappointment, obviously, for Nafina tonight, but sometimes they say, you know, you have to lose one to appreciate winning one. So, hopefully they'll be back next year. But for Vincent's, they'll be more than determined to go all the way, not just in Leinster, I would have thought, but perhaps in the All-Ireland series as well. They certainly have the players, they have the calibre in their squad to do it as well. And likes of Niamh Heatherton in there, you know, her father, Kieran, a great hurling man in Dublin, and the mother Patsy, of course, for many, many years as well. So great night for the likes of them. But as a contest, disappointing overall. I would have thought that, you know, the attitude of Vincent's in the first half was to go out, kill it off as early as they did. We hoped for a bit of an Nafina comeback in the second half, and, you know, to be fair to them and to give them credit, they tried their hardest. What did they get it in the end? 7 points, was it? But no, there was to be no denying Vincent's tonight. Congratulations to them, and what a great way to honour the late great Brian Mullins as well, Jerome.
Definitely smiling down.
Definitely, absolutely, yeah.
And you said at half time, those kids, you can't keep them off this pitch, so that the other younger generation, shall we say, are there, who mightn't even know Brian Mullins, but they're all Vincent's people tonight, and they're having a great occasion out there, and it's a great club feel about it from the old to the young.
Absolutely, they're a fantastic club, Marino. St Vincent's and Marino, they always have been, and hopefully, please God, they always will be to the fore of Dublin GAA. And for these young kids out here tonight, the memories of this night will inspire them to hopefully, in years to come, be out there themselves in the famous white jersey with the blue hoop.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you go down. You have the Player of the Match award, so you go down and you can make that presentation or give it over to the MD, and he will make the presentation. Andy Edwards, I think, is going to come over to do that, and we'll get Aisling Maher over. So you go down to pitch side and do that, and we'll bring Dennis back on, and we'll keep talking here until the presentation. And nobody has gone over to the presentation area. It's kind of hard to get them all to go over. There's so many people down there, and they just want to go in and have a bit of fun there and enjoy the moment. But the presentation is coming up, and we will stay on for it, and it hopefully won't be too far away, and then we'll get a bit of reaction as well. We have a camera down at the sideline, and Morris is down there, and as long as he hasn't huffed at Nafina getting beaten and gone home, but hopefully he's still there. He is still there, and we have Declan going down as well, so he'll grab a word maybe with the coach and with Aisling Maher as well, and we'll get some reaction from St Vincent's at the end of this celebratory night, but a poignant night as well for anybody who knows St Vincent's and who knows their Dublin football and who knows Brian Mullins. But certainly lots of smiling faces out there from the blue and whites, and I think that all goes back to 12 months ago when they lost to St Jude's in the county final. They lost that final, and St Jude's won it the year before. So as I said at the final whistle, Dennis, they've got their cup back, and you can see that means a lot to them.
It does. That means a huge amount to them. Like they're as I mentioned, they're an ambitious club, whether it's the hurling, the football, or the camogie, and they'd want to have that trophy back with them. Interesting, Jerome, looking at the final score, it was only 7 points in the end. It felt like a bit more, and we were speaking just coming up to half time where there was only 5 in it with Nafina to take the wind, and there's no doubt that the critical period was that 2 or 3 minutes before half time when Vinny's got the goal and 2 points. That put the daylight between them, that Nafina were never able to pull back really.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I remember seeing that they put up 2 minutes left in the half, and then saying at that point if they can avoid conceding, but they conceded 1-2 in that time, and such an unfortunate goal, and it kind of killed the game a little bit, didn't it?
It did, and as Declan was saying there, like, you were looking for a bit of a comeback from Nafina in the second half. It would have been easier psychologically if there was only 4 or 5 in it than the margin that was in it at half time. To be fair to them, they kept going, and as we saw at the end, they had 2 or 3 efforts to get in there, but Vincent's held out well.
Now, I'm just wondering actually, while we're waiting here, because there's no sign of the presentation, if Declan could maybe go and get an interview for us, or has he gone over to the far side? The cup is being prepared. Of course, it's the Maura Brady Memorial Cup, and now they're announcing for everyone to move over, so maybe we'll hold on those interviews and get them in a minute or two after the presentation, because Carl O'Brien is over there, and that's the chairperson of Dublin Camogie, so he's now making the announcements, and now maybe everyone will head over there. I'm just checking your messages on the live stream, so you're welcome still to comment on there under that. We had a great audience online tonight watching the game, which is terrific to see, and I'm sure if you're from St Vincent's, you'll be staying with us, because you'll want to see the next bit. You want to see that cup going back to St Vincent's. It's not going too far, just up the road from here, and they did march here earlier on. It's that close. They didn't even need to drive, and they won't have far to carry the cup back, the Maura Brady Memorial Cup. Well, I thought they were moving over. There's still no sign of them. They don't want to move.
I was just about to say, Jerome, I saw the captain moving in that direction, then somebody called her, and she's back chatting in the crowd down here.
Well, usually in Croke Park, what they do is they send someone on deliberately, grab the captain, bring them over, and the rest has to follow. So the problem is nowadays, yes, it's nice to have people on the pitch, but they all want to grab and they all want to get photographs. But get them over and get the presentation. Let's get that moving. But hey, I suppose we're not in any great rush here. It's 9:05 on a Friday night. St Vincent's are happy, and they've forgotten about the cup. Not quite forgotten, but It's not in their minds at the minute. It's the icing on the cake. The media are waiting over there. See the PRO of St Vincent's, who we interviewed at the start, Dermot, is over there too. Somebody got the captain.
I see Brendan Cooper moving with intent there in the middle of the field. I think he may be trying to get the captain's attention to bring her over.
I think drag is the word. Get over here. And of course it's the go-ahead Dublin Championship, and somebody was saying earlier they were right across all of the codes, and you can see that the treatment is fair right across the codes, and it's been a great occasion here tonight and well supported, well organised, great match programme as well, and great to see the 1992 team honoured at half time. So it's had just about everything. And you hear the announcement there, which is trying to move the people again over towards the presentation area. I see the photographers there as well, but they're still, I see a slow movement, a slow migration now from left to right, but only a slow one. We'll get there. And I did ask Declan for player of the match, but I didn't ask you, Dennis. I take it you agree, or who would be your contenders, shall we say, even if we think we'll all be agreed on the eventual winner.
Yeah. Well, as a defender, I used to always be a little bit jealous of the attackers getting the players of the match, but in fairness, you couldn't argue with Aisling Maher tonight, and she hit her frees, but she also hit a lot off play, and I mentioned earlier on her movement and, dragged, defenders away and made space. To be fair, there were 3 or 4 really good performances from Nafina. I thought Grania free in defence, played very well. Elise Jemison Murphy and Roisin Baker out around the middle, and when Elise went in, she was doing her best. And as you mentioned in the commentary, Alex Griffin had a very good second half. Would have been, I suspect, disappointed herself that they didn't bring her into the game more in the first half, but did very well in the second half. I thought the 2 cornerbacks from Vincent did very well. We've mentioned Laura Smith and Ciara O'Leary a number of times in the commentary, and Laura's 2 tackles on the 2 Nafina attackers in the second half kept the goal opportunity away, so they did play well, and Grania Quinn held the centre back position. So but you couldn't argue with Aisling Maher, couldn't argue with her as player of the match.
And there are a lot of the players who starred tonight getting in a little group over there towards the presentation area, and they are nearly ready for that. Nafina have made no effort to go over that way just yet. They're not interested in the cup, but of course they'll pay attention to the celebration in a minute and give respect indeed to the winners. Now, it would have been lovely to have got an interview here in the last few minutes, but we're not able to get one. The players are all out there, but they've gone over now. It's too late. They've gone over to the far side, and we'll get it after the presentation, which is hopefully going to happen soon. I see number 10 Heatherton going up there, and they're just ambling. They're in no particular hurry. So new champions tonight after Jude's won it last year. There was always going to be new champions because Nafina had never won it. But it is definitely a Vinny's night.
My reckoning, Jerome is their 8th title under the Vincent's name, and Marino would have been the Camogie team in that part of the city. Had won 6 before that, so it's probably, as a Marino Vincent's, it's their 15th title, I think, 14th title in total.
And they were the favourites going into it, and they lived up to that as well, and maybe, as you say, won it earlier with their very impressive campaign.
They had. When you look at the scores in the group section and the scores, that Vincent's put up against the opposition in their group, and compared it to Nafina had much tighter games and actually lost 1 game to Bowden in the group, whereas Vincent's relatively comfortably came through their group.
Well, that's the players all up there. Wonderful setting here, looks great, and big crowd, lots of young ones still having the crack on the pitch. But I think we're very near the presentation now, because we have the important girls up there, and the sign says, come on you girls, you boys and girls in blue. Well, it's the girls in blue, not just for Dublin but for St Vincent's. Not sure we'll pick up exactly the speeches, but the celebrations have certainly started, and the cup is in there somewhere, maybe just to the right of that or behind there. I see Carl there, the chairperson, who's preparing. He's got a few notes there, so he'll be taking the microphone in a second or two, and then we will get the presentation. And of course, the captain for St Vincent's is a Clare woman, Murren Kelleher, number 15. Took a knock during the game, recovered from that. Now we'll see if we can pick up what Carl is saying. Not really, I'm afraid. It's a little bit muffled over here, but I think he's thanking everybody and making sure they all come over, and the very fact that he started, I think people are now migrating over there, and the only ones not gone over yet are the Nafina crowd of players and supporters, but they're now heading over there. So I imagine Carl is thanking the officials and his hard-working committee and Parnell Park for hosting as well. Wonderful setting, and it's hard to believe, Dennis, did somebody say this is the first Senior 1 Camogie Championship final that's been held here?
In my memory, I think I have seen Erin's Isle and Vincent's play here, but I could be wrong on that in a county final, but it's certainly not a regular, and it's great to see the provision of the pitch for this game.
And there is a cup lifted into the sky. Sorry, Dennis, but just to see that moment there and now a speech. I wonder, can we pick up some of this from Murren? And she's mentioning Brian Mullins now. So he was very much uppermost in their thoughts. She lifts the Maura Brady Memorial Cup into the skies and says, "Thank you very much, we've got it back." She's giving out the thanks now. The backroom team, of course, from her club. And it was interesting that this year they had new management. It was Tom Russell with Aoife Drumgool, and the selectors and coaches Cathal Fallon, Aidan Fogarty, Canis Hickey and Catherine Cantanuia. Has it got that right? I'm not sure. And the physio deserves a mention too, Fergal Kieran.
Yeah, Catherine has played a lot, and I think had to give up for injury, but has contributed a huge amount to Vincent's over the years.
I think she's referring back 4 years, is it, you mentioned there? Maybe talking about the time when they won Leinster and said it's been hard work to get back to this point, but they're back where they were. They won Dublin in 2019, and that year they won Leinster as well, and Murren, of course, was involved then, and she'll want to go all the way in Leinster again. Yeah, she's going to mention the management now. I just got ahead of her there and mentioned them, but she's mentioning them now. And Dennis, they come in this year new, and they've done a great job, and I'm sure a few of them were around last year too. Yeah, and looking at the names on that Vincent's management team, you just look at Russell, Drumgool, Fallon, just to name 2 or 3 of them. They're good Vincent's names, and it's a tradition that's in that club where the players give a huge amount back. And I noted in some of the notes on the players tonight that player X is looking after the under 13 team and player Y is involved with that team, and it's a great tradition in that club. Yeah, Anya Fanning, longest serving player, and she's the under 13 coach. And then you have some young players coming through there like Laura Smith, who'd a very good game.
Yeah, Ava Lamb, centre forward, is a very promising player coming through their ranks as well.
And then you have that experience there. You have your Deirdre Johnson, you have Gráinne Quinn, players like that. And also one player who made a difference, I think, this year, came in from Crumlin, the goalkeeper, Dara Cook.
Yeah. Dara's a very impressive goalkeeper over the years, and again, to be in her genes. Sinead, her mum, would have played for Crumlin and Dublin, was a very good goalkeeper, and yeah, she is good, and her clearances there tonight, albeit they didn't have a huge amount of puck outs, but they were well struck and found her player a fair bit of the time.
So there were a few elements there that changed things around from last year, and Heatherton playing in the forwards, McGovern playing in the backs, Dara Cook coming in, Anya Woods missed last year's final with a broken collarbone, Claire Donnelly having a kid last year and then coming back, and now she's fully fit, shall we say, this year. And you had players coming in from and making all sort of differences there incrementally, and it all added together, and the new management as well. So a lot of factors there that have turned it around for them and turned defeat last year into victory this year for St Vincent's. And then the Brian Mullins factor as well today.
Yeah,
and big crowd, and been played in Parnell Park.
Yeah, and depending on the fixtures now coming up in Leinster, when they're going to be, like there was a couple of players who didn't get play time tonight. Evelyn Toomey, very impressive player, was away on the J1 for the summer. Shauna McBride, sister of the two McBride brothers that play with Dublin, has been injured and has just worked her way back. If those two players were back fit, they'd be putting serious pressure on the first 15 here again. And as we all know, from a club point of view, you need 21, 22 players competing for those positions.
She's still not finished. I thought she'd finished. I saw somebody reaching back. You might have forgot to mention someone, so she's still going with a speech. Yeah, she is. I think our camera nearly went for one there, but we've got that back on track. Another round of applause. We're hoping to get one of those over here for an interview, or maybe for a coach or something. Some reaction from St Vincent's. We'll have that shortly, and we've that player of the match award to give out as well. I think she's mentioned, was that a chairperson she mentioned there from St Vincent's as well? And support from the whole club.
She's on the hip, so I think that might be the end of it.
All right, okay. Well, we have a man over there, and he's going to try and get somebody over for an interview shortly. So stay with us, and I'm sure you will if you're from St Vincent's. Right, that's that bit done. They have the cup. Players starting to come down now, so we'll try and grab somebody. But I imagine that Aisling Maher will be the most in demand. And they're also making it trickier. They come down two different ways, but our man's over there, and he's going to try and get one of them over for an interview. That's a nice shot there. The girls in blue, and it is the girls in blue from St Vincent's. They're the champions 2022. Go ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship. And yeah, you're just right, Dennis, to mention the subs there. Number 16 Roisin Higgins, 17 Ali Maguire who came on, 18 Roisin Drohan who started, 19 Anna Sullivan, 20 Abby Farrell who came on, 21 Aoife Traynor, 22 Grace Gilroy who came on for a little cameo at the end, 23 Evelyn Toomey, and 24 Shauna McBride. I think they both actually played in the final last year. So a squad effort, and now they're going for the team photograph, of course, now that they've got the cup. So Murren will jump in the middle there, and she does. And we, I think, have somebody for interview now, finally, I think. So give us a minute for that. We'll get reaction, and then we'll get a reaction from players as well. So Declan Drake is down there, and we're measuring up the camera to get that for you. In the meantime, enjoy those celebrations. And everybody trying to get in there now. And of course, all the photographers are there, but everyone has a camera phone these days, so everyone wants to get that snap. But that's the important one, and there'll be all sorts of other pictures taken, but we're hoping to get reaction. I wonder, are we ready on sideline? I'm looking down here, it doesn't look like they are just yet. We're handing over the microphone here and trying to get reaction, and there's the cup being lifted into the sky, and the captain lifted into this on the shoulders as well. The Champione's song goes up into the sky. I do see Aisling Maher coming over now, finally. She's been brought over and she's making her way over, and she's got a few supporters around there. And in the meantime, Declan is poised, and they have the Player of the Match trophy. So we are going to have that presentation here very imminently. And I think it's about to be made, and it will be the MD of Go Ahead, that's Andy Edwards, so he has the trophy. We're putting it all together now, we're nearly there. Aisling Maher coming over with the smile on her face, and now about to get the trophy. So let's go to that now. And Declan is with us, and I'll hand over to him.
Go Ahead Senior Camogie Championship Final for 2022. Aisling Maher, who will now receive her award from Andy Edwards, the Managing Director of Go Ahead Ireland.
Congratulations, great game, well played. Thank you.
Aisling, Player of the Match is one thing, but 12 points in a county final is another thing as well. Just one of those nights where everything seemed to go well from start to finish for you.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't go as far as everything now. There's always stuff to work on, you know. But yeah, look, the job of putting the frees over at the end of the day, but they're always a team effort, you know. So it's the work that's done by all the other girls before I ever step up to hit the free that counts to give us the opportunity to get the score. So whoever's putting it over the bar at the end, doesn't matter to us as a team.
With the experience that the team had built up over the last number of years, that was a crucial ingredient, and you knew how to handle the occasion tonight as well.
Yeah, and look, it was fantastic to have this occasion here tonight, you know, just to say this is a huge opportunity for us. First Camogie final I've ever played in Parnell Park with a club team under lights, so I think you got a bit of the atmosphere here today, the support coming from both Vincent and Nafina. Obviously it's a local derby, but just really lavaged the opportunity and really soaked up all the energy there tonight. It was fantastic to get to play under these circumstances.
An emotional evening, of course, as well, with the loss of the great Brian Mullins earlier today.
Yeah, 100%. Look, Brian Mullins epitomises what it means to be in a club man in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of people in Vincent who've been positively influenced by his presence and by the work that he's done. So that was definitely a thought that was at the forefront of our minds going in tonight. You know, we had a chat in the dressing room before we came out about what he meant to the club and what he kind of represented and brought to the pitch every time he played, and we wanted to emulate that tonight.
Finally, Aisling, this is only step one of three potentially. Next up is an assault on the Leinster Club Championship, which you've had some success in the past, and I can sense a real burning determination within that group to go a little bit further next year if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's one step at a time. You know, we played a semi-final 2 weeks ago. We weren't looking any further than that game, similarly with every round game, so it'll be the same thing. Next step up is a Leinster semi-final in 6 weeks, I think it is, and that'll be the sole focus. But like you say, there's a huge amount of talent, there's a huge amount of potential in this group, and we'll be striving to push on and go as far as we can.
Aisling Maher, Player of the Match in the 2022 Go Ahead County Camogie Final. Congratulations, and congratulations to your club, St Vincent's, as well.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Lovely tribute there to Brian Mullins from Aisling Maher, and she is going over now to actually get her photograph taken, so we're going to get the shot of the presentation, and it has been taken there. Well, the shot's been taken by somebody behind the wall, but maybe we'll get a shot on our camera as well if Morris can swing round there to get that. And there's another interview going on between Declan. I think he's doing a radio interview, but if Morris, our cameraman, can switch round right beside him there and get the shot of that, it would be nice to see that presentation of the trophy. There he goes now, and there's the interview being conducted beside us. We've already had our own interview, but there you see the trophy. That's the Go Ahead Player of the Match trophy being presented, and Declan finishing off with another interview there. We're going to wrap it up there. We're going to go down and do our own interviews at the after all of the coverage. We thank you for that. We thank Dennis Murphy for coming on to co-commentary tonight as well, and Declan Drake and everybody else who's helped. We hope you have enjoyed the coverage from our cameras, low and high, streaming far and wide. We had a tribute at the start to Brian Mullins. We're going to put that up on social media, and we've had a great occasion here tonight. It's ended with victory for St Vincent's, 114 to 10 points in the go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship final. The crowd leaving, we're going to leave as well, from a blue Parnell Park. It's good evening.